and welcome back to my channel, Naps of the New Black. Today will be another collaboration video with Alyssa. We are going to talk about the pros and the cons of traditional locks and Microlocs. So for those of you who have decided, okay, I'm going to get locks, but now you're struggling with, well, should I go with the really small locks? Should I go with medium-sized traditional, large traditional? We are here to hopefully help you kind of understand the decision and understand all the implications of one type of lock over the other. Yeah, that's really all I had to say about that. Keep watching the video. We have 6 pros and 6 cons for each. So see you at the end. Microlocs con number 1, interlocking. Even though it was one of my pros and I love interlocking, it's a very technical skill. So it's not as simple as just rolling your hair. You have to know which rotation you want to do and pay attention so you don't create holes. And so for my DIYers, it might be harder to pick up as a skill. And that's definitely something to take into consideration.
Con number 1 is that my coils came out a lot in the beginning, especially the ones in the front because they are loose. They were looser, so they would come out a lot, and in the beginning I would have to get maintenance done way more often than I do now. I literally got my first retwist after about 3 weeks because my hair was just coming out. I have a picture of one of my locks. Literally was like, you could see my actual loose hair, like you could see it was almost out. So that is the first con, because obviously you don't want your hair to come out in the beginning. Obviously it does get better and it stops happening, but yes, that's con number 1.
Microlocs con number 2. More locks means a longer time spent during your maintenance sessions. So you remember me saying I only have to maintenance my hair every 2.5 to 3 months? Well, when I finally do sit down to maintenance my hair, 265 locks does not take a short amount of time to maintenance. It takes me 12 hours to interlock my entire head. So yes, I don't have to do it for 3 months, but when you do it, it takes a long time. And think about it this way. It's as if you were to go get box braids 4 times a year, every year, for many years to come.
Con number 2 is that retwists do not last that long. Honestly, I think everybody that has traditional locks knows this, but you can get we can get a retwist on Monday, and by Thursday our hair is already starting to frizz back up. Some people, you can't even tell if they got a retwist after just a few days. I think at maximum it'll last up to 2 weeks if you're lucky, but for the most part, yeah, they don't last that long. But I just accepted that because I realized that's just what is going to happen. But also, as as your locks mature, though, it won't be so bad. But yeah, retwists really do not last that long.
Microlocs con number 3. I guess it just depends on if you start with the 2-strand twist pattern. That pattern takes longer to fade and actually look like real locks than if you were to start with comb coils, which start to look like the traditional barrel locks much quicker. So if you are not patient, then people coming up to you asking you when you're gonna take your twists out, or bro, it's time to take your twists out, may get a little annoying. So you wanna keep that in mind. If you are patient, then the 2-strand twist pattern won't bother you
that long. Con number 3 is that there is a lot of frizz. Frizz. There's a lot of it. In the beginning, I want to say it's worse in the beginning, but some people still experience it. Even now, for example, I'm 8 months and I'm still experiencing it. But so yeah, that's a con. A lot of people do not like the look of frizz. They can't handle it. They're trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So if you can't handle frizz, then you may not want to get traditional locks because frizz is gonna come.
Microlocs con number 4. They can be very expensive if you don't do it yourself. So going to get a lot of locks installed in your head can be hundreds or thousands of dollars. And I wasn't willing to pay that, so I went to YouTube, figured out how to do it myself. But if you are not a do-it-yourselfer, then, these might hurt your pockets a little bit.
Gonna come. Con number 4 is that traditional locks are obviously heavier than the sister or the Microlocs. So as your hair gets longer, it becomes heavier. You may not be able to put your hair into a ponytail as easily or a bun because it might be heavy, or it might, pull on your edges. So that could be a con for a lot of people that like to wear their hair up maybe, or that don't like having that heavy feel to their hair. Con number 5.
Since they are smaller and have physically less hairs feeding into them, they can be fragile. The reason I say can be is because you really should do it based off the density of your hair, and you still want like a good amount of hair feeding into each lock. But if it's not done properly, you do make your locks too small, you are at risk of losing locks. And I feel like you don't have that same issue with traditional locks, or at least not as big of an issue with traditional locks.
Con number 5 is that traditional locks are obviously bigger, so it's difficult to put braids or twists or wigs over the locks if you like to do that sort of thing. Like if you like to do protective styling over your locks, or you plan to do that over your locks, it may be difficult if you have like a larger size, and it might be heavy on your hair. And so if you want to do the whole protective style thing over top of your locks, then you may want to do really small traditional locks, or either go with the micro or the sister locks.
Microloc con number 6, the install. That's really all. That's it. The install takes forever. My install took me 3 days, and I have relatively few locks for someone who has Microlocs. Like 265 is on the lower end of the spectrum. I know girls on Instagram with 500 Microlocs in their head, and honestly and truly, I have no idea how they put that in. Like how, or they even sat for long enough to get 500 locks in your head. But even for me, it took 3 days, and it is an investment of your time and energy and just everything. So keep that in mind too.
Con number 6 is that it is easier to accumulate buildup when you have traditional locks, because you're using more products when you have traditional locks, and you're also using gels for retwist or whatever products you may use or try. It's going to be more buildup than you would experience if you went the other route. So that is it for that con. There's more product buildup.
Pro number 1 for Microlocs. I personally love the look of smaller units on my head. And by smaller units, I mean when I used to get braids or Senegalese twists or kinky twists, I always liked it when they were smaller rather than bigger. So I have a medium smallish head, and really large units kind of drowned out my head, and I just never liked that look. So I would always go for the micro braids, the micro twists, the small kinky twist. I just knew that moving forward in my lock journey, I would most likely be the happiest with smaller locks than larger locks. So think about the styles that you've gotten in the past. Did you like them small, or did you like the jumbo box braids? And that could help you kind of decide.
So pro number 1 is you have an array of sizes to choose from. When you go with the traditional locks, you can go from small, medium to large to extra large. You can pretty much decide what size you want to go with based on the results that you want to see.
Pro number 2 for Microlocs. The weight of smaller locks when they get longer tends to be lighter than the weight of larger locks when they get longer. So the way locks form is your hair creates a mesh, and the less hairs you have in any particular lock, the lighter it's going to be. So I know that I'm tender-headed, and larger braids would always make my scalp sore quicker than when I had smaller braids. So I was thinking about the fact that I want to grow these locks pretty long, and I don't want the weight to kind of put stress on my scalp later on down the line.
Pro number 2, you have different methods you can choose from in which you start your locks. So you can start off with crochet, you can start off with instant locks, you can start off with lock extensions, and then you of course have the options of if you want to do 2-strand twists, if you want to do comb coils, if you want to do braids. There's so many different ways you can start your locks when you go the traditional locks route. It's really just your preference and how you want your hair to look, or how patient you are, honestly, because a lot of people want results quick. So if you want quick results, then you would go the instant lock method. If you want to go through the actual process, then you would go like maybe getting comb coils or 2-strand twists. Either way, you have a lot of different methods to choose from in which you can start your locks.
Pro number 3 for Microlocs. Versatility is a huge pro of Microlocs. Don't get me wrong, all locks are versatile. However, the more parts you have in your head, the more parting options you have, if that makes any sense. So if my boyfriend, for instance, only has 36 locks, you can only do so many things with 36 locks. But when you have 100 locks, 200 locks, or in my case 265 locks, I can part them more ways and put more braids. I can make my locks look bigger by putting them into twists. But you can't split larger locks into 2 to make it look like you have smaller locks, So I could always give the illusion that I have larger locks or do different styles that require multiple parts, whereas with traditional locks, you might not have that same freedom.
Pro number 3, traditional locks are not lifestyle dependent. And what I mean by that is if you want to do your hair, you can. But if you don't want to do your hair, you don't have to. You can literally go months without maintenance when you have traditional locks. You can also freeform, which means you literally do nothing to your hair other than wash it, but then you let it do its own thing. So you don't have to follow like a set guideline or a set, routine. When you have traditional locks, you can do your hair if you want to a certain number of weeks, or you can just let your hair be and not give it a second thought. Just keep it moisturized and make sure that your hair stays healthy. But that's about it. So in that sense, it's great because you can literally not have to worry about your hair at all.
Microlocs pro number 4, interlocking. I love, 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 love interlocking. It's the maintenance that I use is interlocking. I have a video on it on my channel, but basically it lasts so much longer. I interlock every 2.5 to 3 months, whereas you might have to retwist every 3 to 5 weeks. Also, the bases, like I can get them wet, I can steam them, I can spray them every day, and they will look exactly the same throughout the month. So interlocking is very long term, and it reduces the amount of maintenance I actually have to do on my locks. So I really enjoy that maintenance style.
Pro number 4, when you get maintenance done to your traditional locks, whether it be retwisting or whether it be interlocking, it does not take as long as it would take for sister or Microlocs. So granted, I know a lot of people do their own hair, and yes, it may take a while because they're doing it themselves. But if you go to the shop and get like a retwist or get interlocking done, it's only going to take 2 to 3 hours at most, unless you have a lot of traditional locks. But at most 2 to 3 hours, as opposed to your whole day, 8 to 10 hours.
Pro number 5. I started with 2-strand twists, and I think that the starting method is super easy to DIY. So most people know how to 2-strand twist, so it can be really cost effective if you start your own and you start them with small 2-strand twists. Also, the twists do not unravel like coils do. So I was able to wash my hair a week after I installed my twist, and they stayed completely intact. Whereas if I were to do coils, I feel like they would have fallen apart. And I really enjoy washing my hair and keeping my scalp really clean. Like, my scalp responds well to that. So I enjoy being able to wash my hair frequently, and Two Straighten Twist really allowed me to do that.
Pro number 5, after you get your maintenance done, like I said, whether it's retwist or interlocking, you have a neat, clean, finished look for however long it lasts. But it's nice to, you know, have that done every so often and just see the results of your hair and get that nice shine and, you know, that nice polished look for a few days. So, yep, that's it for that pro.
Pro number 6. I think that it's easier to fake volume with Microlocs versus traditional locks. And what I mean by fake volume is if you have lower density hair or medium density hair, then your traditional locks are pretty much constrained to the density of your hair. Like how many physical hairs are in each lock will determine how thick they get. With Microlocs, everyone expects the locks to be thinner. But the more of them you have, the more you can fill in holes where you might be missing some density. And so having more physical locks on your head will give a fuller effect if your hair is not already thick. See, Alyssa's hair is already thick, okay, with 3 C's. And so I don't think she had to worry about her traditional locks not being thick. However, my density is about medium density. Some people think it's high density, but I really think it's medium density. And I wanted mine to have the illusion of being high density. And I think Microlocs have allowed me to achieve that.
Pro number 6 may actually be a con to some, but in my opinion, it's a pro. So it is, you get to go through the lock process when you have traditional locks, and I'm referring to literally starting from the bottom, starting from the beginning when you have little coils or little 2-strand twists, and then you get to go through each stage of the process. And it really helps you grow as a person as your hair is growing, as your hair is maturing. It really does help you on a personal level, and I enjoy that. I know a lot of people may see it as a con, like I said, because they want quick results. But if they want quick results, then like I said, they can do the whole instant lock route. But in my opinion, I love being able to go through each stage and look at pictures from the beginning and compare them to now and just watch my hair literally transform before my eyes. I love it. It's just so exciting to wake up and look at my hair. And then, of course, when I get that retwist, I can see how much my hair has changed or how much it has grown since the last time. So for me, I just really enjoy it. It is so much fun to go through and, like I said, grow along with my hair.
That's it, guys. Those are my 6 Microloc pros and cons and Alyssa's 6 traditional lock pros and cons. If you can come up with any other ones, like if you have Microlocs and you can come up with more pros or more cons, please drop them in the comment section below. Same thing, if you are a traditional lock lover, then go ahead and list any additional pros and cons that Alyssa may have missed in her portion of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and like and subscribe. That would be nice. I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.